How about Trustee Bolthus? Can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can all remain standing. If I could ask for a moment of silence for two different individuals. First, our Superintendent of Public Works, Dan Sullivan's father, passed away. Tonight was the wake. Then he attended, and I would like for him, and then also, if you read the newspaper, the mayor of West Chicago passed away as well, Mayor Quasman. So if we could please have a moment of silence. Thank you. Go to item 3, which is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello.
Move to approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Taglia.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolthus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
President Cullerton?
Yes. We will now go to the President's report. A is the swearing in of Robert Pavelchik, Jr. to the position of Police Chief of Villa Park. Where are we going to do this?
Right in front.
I need something to swear him in, though. Do you have a little thing? Thank you, goodness. All right, now hop on one leg. No, I'm kidding. We've got our beautiful historic houses coming up later as well. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Robert Pavelchik, Jr.,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and to faithfully perform the duties
and to faithfully perform the duties
as Chief of Police
as Chief of Police
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Chief. Welcome.
I forgot my folder. I had a few words. Thank you very much, President Cullerton, and I want to thank all the members of the department that are here tonight. In the couple short months that I've been here, I realized something that I knew before I got here, that you have a wonderful police department. It's very hardworking men and women, and I'm very, very humbled to be in their presence. I want to thank my friends. Came out to see some of our neighboring police communities here. Colonel Pickley from the State Police, nice to see you, sir. I want to thank my good friend Sean Durkin, who I've known in Darien for, I don't know, we got about 25 years underneath us, Sean, and some other friends that were gracious enough to come out and thank me tonight. But mostly I want to commit myself to the community and to the board. I look forward to the challenges that we have ahead, but you've got a great staff here already, and I'm very humbled to be working in their presence. So thank you very much.
All right, I'm swapping just a bit at the request of Carol Marcus. All right, hold on. We'll let him file out real quick. All right, next up we will go to the proclamation designating May as National Preservation Month. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas Discover America's Hidden Gems is the theme for National Preservation Month 2012, co-sponsored by the Villa Park Historical Preservation Commission and the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Therefore, I, Thomas Cullerton, President of the Village of Villa Park, do proclaim May 2012 as National Preservation Month and call upon the people of Villa Park to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. And now I will hand it over to Carol Marcus and her presentation of the awards for the Historical Preservation Commission. And these we do every year, and I want to thank Carol and her commission because it's absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to lead in real quick and give you a big promotion and plug. If you have not done our historical house walk in Villa Park, every year we do it. Carol and her committee get some great houses, and we want you to come every year.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to say good evening to the village board and to the community. This is a fun part of the year. Every day is fun, but this is exceptional. I would like to thank my commission, too, for all their hard work that they've done. So I'm here tonight to present the Historic Plaque Awards. This is a volunteer program. This is the form. It's on the village website. If you live in an older home, 65 years old, or if you live in a Sears house, or if it's a landmark and 50 years old, this might be something you might be interested in. And with that, I just want to say today we have 65 properties in town that have been awarded a historic preservation plaque, and they're not all just big houses. There's some modest homes, and it's a sampling of our community. Our community was formed in 1914 and has all different types of architecture, and all kinds of people lived in the community. This year's theme is a good one. Discover our gems. We have them. Walk the neighborhoods. We've got walking tours on the community website for you to look at, and go into neighborhoods that you haven't gone into. You'd be surprised how beautiful our housing is, and we do have considerable buys. Now's the time to sell and trade up. With that, I'd like to, it gives me great pride to present our 2 preservation plaques. The first one goes to Dave and Jill Downer, who live on Southville Avenue, for their wonderful big bungalow house. It's right here. And Dave's here tonight. Would you like to come up? This is for our archives. The second award goes to Al and Valerie Flamini. Is that how you pronounce it? For the 2-story brick Georgian Revival House on Madison Street. It was built in 1947 by A.L. Salzman and Son. Is named the Salzman House after its original owner, Marshall Salzman. Would you like to come up and get your Thank you. I do research on some of these homes, and so does my commission, but with this A.L. Salzman and Son, it's very interesting what I uncovered. He's an architect, built houses in Villa Park in the 40s, primarily for the GIs coming out and who needed housing. They were affordable homes, and they were all custom homes. On the presentation board is one of the styles. He had 3 sons, and they all were architects and engineers. Between Elmhurst and Villa Park, they built over 60 homes. So you might be living in the Salzman house. And it's really interesting. I also found death certificates and his wedding announcement. And the Internet's a wonderful tool. I encourage everybody to research their home because you'll be surprised what kind of history comes up here. He also, Mr. Salzman also was a character. He was a sculptor. He built boats. He was a yachtsman. He was an artist. And he's still alive today. He retired in Florida. And what he's doing for pleasure is he's folding paper origami and giving them to the tourist. And I'm sure he's got favorable things. One of my desires this summer is to go down and visit him. So I also like to thank the present owners as being caretakers for their contribution to the community and maintaining their homes so that we could all be proud of your homes. These buildings are very important to our development, and the history is so rich that we uncovered. So I would also like to bring up Michael Bailey Jr. Michael is our junior assistant. I'd like to present with him a certificate of appreciation for working on our Heights and subdivision.
Thank you so much. It was an honor this project.
Yes, I'd like to tell you about, we like to uncover neighborhoods, and the Heiston subdivision is a parcel of property that's north of the Prairie Path. It's bounded by Park, Villa, Highland, and Summit. And what we've been doing, we've been taking photos of all the architecture in that neighborhood and gathering history about it. So hopefully by the end of the year we'll have a lot more things that we uncover. So thank you very much for your... Great. I'd like to thank the Village of Villa Park and the board for their support of the historic buildings that the village owns. I know it's a lot of work to maintain this beautiful village hall and the Chamber of Commerce building and the Historical Museum and that great Western Depot, but we should be very proud that we have this history because it's unique and it makes us who we are, Villa Park. Thank you very much.
And we're going to do another plug. Carol, what are the hours? We're coming on to summer months. What are our hours of our historical museum? If you have not been and visited our historical museum, you will see some great things about the history of Villa Park. We have the entire history of the Ovaltine factory laid out and every contribution they had. You will see the staggering amount of Sears homes that actually Villa Park has and how this was one of the booming towns that actually got, I don't even know how many Sears homes we had.
We trained you well, Tom. Sandy Dollinger is she's the president of the Historical Society, and we just opened the museum for the season. They're open from Wednesday 1 to 5 o'clock through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday they're open from 10 to 4. There is a reference section there that if you want to research your home, there's instructions on how to do it. We've got old phone directories. It's a good place to start because some of them are indexed by address. And also the commission did a survey. Frank Carlson was the chair. And we've got 5 books just chock full of pictures of old houses. At that point in time, 20 years ago, we surveyed every house that was 50 years old at that point in time. So when I talk about Michael Bailey's participation and our commission's participation, things don't get in the museum unless somebody does the work. And that's what we're trying to do. And we try and reach out to the community to have them help us and to research your own home. It's very worthwhile. Thank you.
And I think you'll also find what's nice is it has a big piece of the museum talks about how the old Elgin, what is it? Chicago Aurora Elgin track line is essentially where the Prairie Path was, and the Prairie Path was one of the first transformations from an old railroad line to an actual path. It is actually on the National Register of a Rail to Trail Walk of Fame, Hall of Fame. So there's some great history you could find out about Villa Park. And if you have a Cub Scout troop, a Girl Scout troop, anybody you want to take a nice visit to, and as Carol said, the Dollingers put huge amounts of effort into that museum.
Exactly.
And Sandy, and actually that is their house walk, correct? Or is it your house walk?
Their house.
Their house walk. It is Sandy. So Sandy Dollinger, your house walk is wonderful every year. Please make sure to. And the Prairie Path cleanup will start at the Historical Museum this Saturday.
That's right.
So if you don't have a chance any other time, come down to the Prairie Path cleanup and go into the museum real quick.
And I'll give a plug for the Villa Park Library. They also help us out in the month of May. They pull out all their books on architecture, Frank Lloyd Wright, and everything like that. You walk in, you can grab a book and check it out and read about architecture and all of that. And they recently did some space utilization, and it's much spacious there. So check it out. They rearrange things, and you'll find it looks like almost like a new library. It's small, but it's more spacious. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Carol. All right. With that, we will go to D, proclamation designating April 27, 2012 as Arbor Day in Villa Park. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed that a special day be set aside for planting trees to be known as Arbor Day. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed around the world and is celebrated on the last Friday in April in the state of Illinois, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas for the 27th year in a row, Villa Park has been designated as a Tree City USA, and whereas Villa Park will celebrate Arbor Day with a tree planting ceremony on April 28, 2012, therefore I, Thomas Cullerton, Village President of Villa Park, proclaim April 27, 2012 as Arbor Day in Villa Park. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. All right, with that, we will go to E, reappointments to the boards and commissions. Janet Mayer, Cable TV Commission. Karen Timmerman, Traffic and Safety Commission. Diane Sherlock, Community Pride. Can I have a motion for reappointments?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia.
I'll move for the appointment.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bullwinkle.
second the motion.
Questions or comments on our reappointments? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
President Cullerton?
Yes. And do we have any of them here tonight?
No.
We do not. All right. Next up is a presentation by Choose DuPage. Mr. Bedlaw.
Good evening, Mr. President and trustees and village staff. My name is Greg Bedlove, and I'm the president and CEO of Choose DuPage. I wanted to thank you for giving me a moment to visit with you this evening and let you know just a little bit about Choose DuPage, who we are, what we do, and most importantly, how we're helping the business community and the community of Villa Park, along with the other 38 communities that represent DuPage County. I know you have a busy schedule tonight, so I will try to be brief and leave a moment or two for questions that you may have of me after my presentation. Choose DuPage is a public-private 501c6 not-for-profit that was founded about 5.5 years ago. Our primary focus is on business attraction and retention for DuPage County. We have 4 major stakeholders that we like to think of when we think of economic development in DuPage County. First and foremost is the business community within DuPage County and every businessman or woman that represents that business community. Secondly is the communities that represent DuPage County. We like to think of ourselves as a support agency from backroom functions to front room functions for all of the communities within DuPage County. Third is our board of directors. We work for a board of directors that's comprised of a cross-section of businesses, large and small, from multiple disciplines and multiple marketplaces throughout DuPage County. And lastly, of course, the citizens of DuPage County who patronize our businesses and keep our economic community and our economic position strong. So I wanted to just meet with you tonight. I have been meeting with Mamie Yee from your community about some economic development initiatives. And quite frankly, I'm on a speaking tour, just going and visiting all of the elected officials throughout DuPage County to let them know about economic development in DuPage County and what the county is doing in conjunction with the business community and your economic development leaders to help promote Villa Park and DuPage County. As you can imagine, our first mission is to increase the profile of DuPage County I know that Villa Park, like many other communities in DuPage County, is a largely built-out community. Not a lot of greenfield space left, not a lot of open land space left for massive new developments. So a lot of our efforts are largely economic redevelopment, and we need to make sure that our profile of a premier global business location is recognized by business leaders, site selectors, brokers, and developers. We do that through a series of trade shows and marketing efforts. And I always tell people at this point in my presentation, I'm hoping that you're not seeing the majority of our print ads, because we want to advertise outside of DuPage County to make sure that we're bringing businesses into the county rather than promoting businesses moving from point A to point B within the county. So think of us as the marketing agency for DuPage County and the business community. We also work very closely on a very detailed business retention plan, which we've been talking to Mamie about, again, through our partners at Commonwealth Edison and their synchronous software, and help from village presidents, mayors, village trustees, and village managers. We're happy to work with you on a business retention plan that can help identify soft spots or weak spots, or hopefully strengths within Villa Park that you can leverage to maintain your existing business community and its vitality, and hopefully grow new businesses and new business opportunities. I came from the sales and marketing world, so I know that an existing sales dollar, an existing customer, is worth 4 times a new customer because of the amount of work that you have to do to get that new customer. We have a very strong business retention plan. President Cullerton, you mentioned Trees and Arbor Day. Part of our business attraction plan, which goes next, is a very comprehensive marketing program, from print media to online to social media and every other form of communication we can come up with. And our board of directors just approved our new marketing strategy, DuPage County, the heartbeat of the Midwest. And the theme is based around the quality of life, which largely includes trees, open spaces, just a really great environment for a business to locate. We had a series of focus group meetings, and we heard time and time again that one of the really appealing things about DuPage County from a business standpoint is my business looks out over a canopy of trees. So you're to be commended for your 27th consecutive year as a tree city. We have learned from our business community that's a really integral part of sound economic development. Hopefully, if we're doing the first 3 things right, we will increase the profile of Choose DuPage as the business community learns more about our efforts. We act as a conduit between the business community, local economic development officials, local elected officials, and perhaps equally as important, state and other county elected and economic development officials to talk about incentive packages, grants, and other financial opportunities that may be available to the business community. One of our big projects we're working on right now is the western access to O'Hare Airport. Our board of directors adopted a plan that supports the governor's study on the economic development benefits of converting Thorndale, when you were going over Elgin and Aurora, the Elgin-O'Hare Expressway, which, as we all know, connects to neither Elgin nor O'Hare, and the importance of strong transportation infrastructure and then a connection to the west side of O'Hare Field, which, as I'm sure you all know, is actually DuPage County. We hear again and again from the business community that integrating education so that we have a workforce that is prepared to meet the needs of the business community here in DuPage County. We are an exporter of our students in DuPage County and an importer of our workforce. We want to make sure that we continue to work so that we can be an importer of our community, of our workforce, but get those students and get that workforce from our community colleges and our local institutions of higher learning and the K-12 system as well. So we work closely with business and education on summits and other initiatives designed to achieve those goals. I want to make everybody aware that Choose DuPage is not a big business organization. We are a small business organization as well. We are the champion of several small business incentive programs, including the county's small business loan program, which provides low-interest loans to startup ventures from retail to commercial to industrial. Additionally, we provide matching funds of up to $1,500 per community for a site selector, broker, or real estate tour within your community. So if you have a known quantity and a known entity of commercial brokers or industrial brokers, I know the president and I were talking about North Avenue and getting exposure on North Avenue. I know Mamie and I are working together on developing a broker tour where we'll bring your brokers together, dog and pony, all of the benefits of Villa Park. Give Choose DuPage 5 minutes to do this speech once again to the development community, and then feed them, educate them, and we'll pay for half of it, whether it's the bus rental, whether it's the food at the restaurant. But we want to help you promote Villa Park, and we want to put our resources behind it. Lastly, last major item we're working on, our board of directors just adopted the very first legislative platform in the history of Choose DuPage. We felt it was important that if we were going to promote economic development in DuPage County, a lot of those decisions that promote economic development are made in Springfield and Washington, D.C., and we felt that in order to be a true player in economic development, we should be able to take positions on pieces of legislation that we think either support the business needs of DuPage County or are harmful to the business needs of DuPage County. So we have a legislative committee that worked very closely with the business community, elected officials, and others, and we formed our very first legislative platform, which was formally adopted at our last board meeting. It'll be on our website effective either tomorrow or the next day when our new website launches. Please, I would ask, again, when I give these presentations, I have several asks. First, we need you all to be our ambassadors. Please work with Mamie and please work with the other economic development folks in your community. If you hear of an economic development opportunity, we want to help. We want to be aware of it. I assure you, we will act as the back room for your staff. We will not insert ourselves unless you ask us to. But we have plenty of resources, economic impact modeling, economic data analysis, demographic analysis. We have a whole tool and toolkit that we don't need to go through tonight because I know your meeting, you have a lot on your agenda. So that's who we are. I ask you to be our ambassadors. I ask you to go to our website, choosedupage.com. If you go to it now, you'll see the old version. If you go to it in 2 days, you'll see the brand new version. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook or Twitter. I'm not quite there with all the social media stuff there. But we're really attacking economic development from a social media standpoint. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or comments or concerns that you may have regarding Choose DuPage and economic development in the county.
Questions? First, I want to thank you for coming out. It means a lot to have the county, to have sort of the strength of Choose DuPage. I've sort of watched that development go over the past few years, and I compliment you. You came on there about a year and a half ago?
About a year ago, actually.
About a year ago. And I think Chairman Cronin made a very good choice bringing you on board for that role. I think Choose DuPage can be a huge asset to us, and I like to see that Western Access is a gigantic piece of your agenda because I see Rahm Emanuel wants to create a fourth runway which could actually interfere with possibly Western Access. So I think the more opportunities we have with that, and if you need us as a partner in helping in that piece as well, we'd be more than happy to do that. And any economic stuff you need from us or we can do for you, please let us know. Mamie is killing trying to get businesses in here, and we just opened up on North Avenue. So anybody who wants to help, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will go to item 5, public comments on agenda items. For those of you that this is your first time to the meeting, we have 2 different agendas tonight. We have a COW and we have a regular agenda. On the regular agenda, your agendas are right up at the board. If you want to speak on an agenda item, you could go through item essentially 6 to item 11 or 12. And this would be your time now to speak on those agenda items. If you have something to speak on that is not on the agenda, you can come up at item 18, which is public comments on non-agenda items. And if you want to speak on something on the committee of the whole, for each item on the committee of the whole, there is a time for people to speak on each individual items on the committee of the whole. So if there is someone who would like to speak on an agenda item, Mr. Meyer, come on up.
Can I speak on item 10?
Certainly. Come right up, sign your name, and we will go from there.
Mr. President, trustees, and village staff, my name is John Dwyer. I live at 433 North Yale in Villa Park, where I've lived for 34 years. I was here a little over 2 years ago for the public hearing about the proposed upgrading of the water main on North Yale, essentially north of the railroad tracks for 2 blocks. I live right in the middle of, I should say, I've lived there 34 years. I'm just a new kid on the block. Bob Behenna, my good friend, is here. He's been there 50 years. We think he must have moved in as an infant. He tells us otherwise. But we're right in the middle of the Yale water main project, or as we call it these days, the war zone. Where it's also, if you don't know the area, it's the gateway to North School. It's how you go to get to North School and the hearing impaired programs that are there. And we are very pleased that Trustee Bullwinkle and the village manager came and visited a couple weeks ago. I was out of town, but they walked part of the area with residents and talked to them about it. And that meant so much to us. And I so appreciate that. And I just encourage you folks to do more of that. And just to show you the benefits of that, they both have been invited to our block party in September. And Trustee Bolthus told me that he drove by this week, or drove by recently, and he told me that before he knew about the invite for the block party, so he'll get invited as well, and anybody else. Our street is a disaster. I encourage you to come look at it. Drive slow. And don't bring a big truck or you might not get out of there. 44 years ago, they laid concrete down on black dirt, as I'm told, and the residents were assessed for it. It's supposed to last 20 years. It's 24 years overdue. It was breaking and shifting, and when I got here 34 years ago, the buckling and so forth, a moving truck came down the street right after we moved in, and part of it collapsed and had to be fixed. It's been breaking more recently. We picked up some traffic from the Ardmore Bridge. And now when you put the water line in, they have to cut like about a 4-foot wide strip down along the side of the one side. And they had to do some other cross cuts for other matters. And what this does is it weakens it more. And then the trucks were coming up and down, and it started cracking more. And, the original plan was to go in and patch it. I think if somebody goes in and patches it, they're going to break it more. I can see a concrete mixer coming down, dumping concrete into a place, and then falling in itself, and so forth. And this is going to be a continuing concrete job if it's not done all at once. And all I can say is it just seems to me like the right thing to do at the right time, rather than having this thing drag on out and being patched and repatched like it has been. I got 3 other residents here. You guys want to correct anything, or?
You pretty much outlined where we stand, and I think we should thank the president and members of the board who have answered our emails and addressed our concerns, as well as the public works director and the engineering staff. And we feel quite honored that you take our concerns to heart and didn't table our problems or concerns and addressed it in a timely manner. I personally, being 50 years on the block, not born there, thank you for your efforts.
Bob's been here 50 years, Adam's been here a year, so we got both ends. Should I just sit down? Or
No, real quick.
I don't want to. I don't want to. I know you've got.
No, Mr. Dwyer. What I will say is that we have reached out to the county. Obviously, there are grant opportunities, and we have had different going back and forth on trying to keep. The original project was done through a community development block grant through the water mains. There is excess left, so we are going back in front of the county board next week.
Yes.
Next week to try to keep that excess to do to finish out the street, finish it the correct way. We've put in calls to Chairman Cronin, and we've put in calls to the county board. Like I said, Vetus and Manager Keener are going for the Economic Development Commission, correct, of the county board. to see if we can maintain those dollars, and then we will continue forward. And hopefully we have another plan as a backup as well if that doesn't occur. But I can let Manager Keener explain that.
Yes. Yeah, we do have another backup plan. So if the county is unable to provide the $78,000, we do have some funding in our enterprise funds that we'll use to finish it, either water or sewer, more than likely water, and we'll finish the project. And as we go through the committee of whole, that's basically what's stated in there. They're either or, so we're ready to go. And I completely understand that the project's been on stoppage for the last couple of weeks, and I did speak with a director today from the county and explain the situation, and that's why we're going before a committee next week. And like I said, we'll go either way. If they give us the money, we'll use it. If not, we have some that we'll take out of the reserves.
So what are you going to vote on tonight?
Either way, to give us the option of going either way. So we're ready to react once we hear that they'll provide the money or not.
Okay. I'm not leaning forward to you because I'm a vulture or anything. I don't hear well, and I've got my hearing aids on, and I don't know if this, something about this room, but can we stay for the vote?
Absolutely.
I don't know. You going to lean forward some more? No, of course you can stay for the vote, John.
Stay, yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Dwyer. Anyone else want to speak on an agenda item? All right, with that, we will go to item 6, consent agenda. A, minutes from village board meeting for April 9th, 2012. B, minutes from village COW for April 9th, 2012. C, minutes from public hearing for April 9th, 2012. D, minutes from special meeting workshop for April 16th, 2012. E, approved bill listing dated April 23rd, 2012 in the amount of $475,208.65. F, approved bill listing dated April 23rd, 2012 in the amount of $278,268.98. G, resolution authorizing agreements with benefit providers. H, resolution authorizing a local agency agreement for federal participation between the Village of Villa Park and the State of Illinois Department of Transportation for Phase 2 design engineering for the Ardmore Avenue Streetscape Project. I, resolution authorizing mosquito abatement agreement for 2012-13-14 with Clark Environmental Mosquito Management Incorporated. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Was that Trustee Aiello?
move for the consent agenda.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Davis?
Second.
Real quick, I have a question, and I know usually Dan Sullivan would answer any mosquito abatement. Can you answer any mosquito abatement? All right. Obviously, with our mild winter, people are already anticipating, and I've seen environmental studies saying that the mosquitoes are going to be absolutely brutal this year. Can you give a sort of breakdown? I've had actually residents ask me if we're going to be doing any spraying. And I told them we don't do spraying and we haven't done it for a lot of years, but if you could just give a breakdown of what mosquito abatement is going to be like with the mild winter. Many people are anticipating, in every environmental report I've read, is they say mosquitoes are going to be big and bad this year.
Well, our program is primarily preventive. It's larviciding. They plant these fish in manholes and in ponds, and they're supposed to eat the mosquito larva. If later on in the season it does reach nuisance levels, then we do have provisions in the contract that we could bring them in and spray on an as-needed basis.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions or concerns from the board on the consent agenda? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Volpus.
Yes.
President Cullerton.
Yes. Item 7, village clerk's report.
No report tonight. Thank you.
Item 8, approved bill listing. Can I have a motion to approve the bill listing?
I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, we just did it. Good morning. Well, why was it listed twice? You're Killing me, Smalls. Item 9, second reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adopting the 2012-2013 budget in lieu of passage of an appropriation budget. Can I have a motion on the second reading?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia?
move for the second reading.
Can I have a second, please?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bolthus?
second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bullwinkle? Yes. Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. Item 10, 11, and 12, if I could have a motion to table those until after the committee of the whole, please.
Mr. President,
Trustee Aiello?
move the table.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bullwinkle?
second motion.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle? Yes. President Colleton?
Yes. Item 13, unfinished business, none. Item 14, new business, none. Item 15, village manager's report. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a couple of items this evening. I was honored to participate in the tea time held at the library on Sunday. Very well attended. I believe our village clerk was there, if I'm not mistaken, guiding us along. And I believe they intend to have it again next year. This is the first time. It was a 19-hole golf course, and you pay just a minimal amount of funding to participate. My kids and my wife enjoyed it thoroughly, and we had the opportunity here at choir, correct? And then Jackson Middle School Band was outstanding. Another item, Your Honor, is I had to make an adjustment to our crime-free draft memo. On Thursday, May 3rd at 6 o'clock in the evening here at Village Hall will be the first landlord training meeting. On Tuesday, May 15th at 6 o'clock here at the Village Hall will be the second landlord training meeting. And Wednesday, May 23rd at 6 o'clock here at the Village Hall in the Chambers will be the third landlord training session. And May 21st will be the Committee of the Whole for the crime-free package. So we decided to move one meeting after that so that we could answer any questions from the landlords at that time. Additionally, the notification letters for the May 3rd meeting go out tomorrow to all the landlords that we've identified. And we'll start the process, Your Honor. Additionally, I did lay down on your desk this evening a Dear Exelon Energy customer email that I received that basically instructs folks to vote no on Senate Bill 678, which is a Senate bill containing the Taylorville Energy Center proposal that, if passed, would require Illinois businesses, families, and government agencies to subsidize the building of a power plant by paying at least $400 million a year over a 30-year period, i.e., $12 billion price tag on Illinois consumers. So that's SB 678. Please vote no. Your Honor, I did also receive a letter that I would like to read into the record for this evening. It says, Dear Mr. Keener, I am writing to thank you, the staff from Public Works Department, and Marlon Hummel for assisting with our potato drop on April 7, 2012. Without your help, the use of the village's forklift, we would not have been able to distribute the potatoes as quickly and easily as we did. With the help of the village and the forklift driver, we were able to unload the 44,100 pounds of potatoes and distribute them to 26 food pantries and churches throughout the area in a little over 3 hours. The 44,100 pounds of potatoes are the equivalent of 84,000 meals for hungry people in our area. Thank you again for your help and support. Sincerely yours, William D. France, United Methodist Men. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, village attorney, please.
No report.
All right. We'll go Trustee Bolthus.
Just a couple things. First off, I'd like to welcome the new chief of police. We're glad to have him on board, and we look forward to his tenure here. and also to the Historic Preservation Commission for their finding these older homes in town, and to the residents who keep those treasures up and in good shape. We appreciate it, and thank you very much. So, that's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Trustee Taglia?
Yes, a couple things tonight, Your Honor. I visited 325 East North Avenue this afternoon. It's a really wonderful facility, and I'd like to compliment the manager. It came in, I think, close to $100,000 under budget. You could correct me if you want to, but I met with our community development director, Melissa Headley, and our economic development director, Mamie Yee, and I'd like to thank you both for doing such a wonderful job, and I'm happy that you have a very nice new professional office to work in, and I believe it was a really good job was done there, so thank you. Also, this Wednesday, Trustee Bullwinkle and I will be attending the IML Lobby Day down in Springfield, and I plan on bringing up the items that the manager mentioned, especially voting no on Senate Bill 678. We always are well received by our elected officials in Springfield. We have a really good working relationship with them, so I look forward to meeting with them and talking about the Senate bill and voting no. Also, the Western Access, I think, is very important to Villa Park, and the gentleman from was it Choose DuPage?
Mr. Bedlow.
So I'll be talking with our representatives about that. Also, I'll be meeting with your cousin, Mr. President, President of the Illinois Senate, John Cullerton. He always gives us audience. He's very gracious. So I look forward to representing Villa Park with my colleague, Trustee Bullwinkle. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Case?
Nothing to report.
Trustee Aiello?
Nothing to report. I have a question. I don't know if now's the appropriate time.
Is it a report or is it a question?
I have a question. It's not a report. The negative side.
Is it has to
I
do with
ran
the-
into a gentleman from one of our commissions who asked me to ask who is sitting currently on our police and fire commission. And I didn't know how to answer that question. I ran into him at dinner a couple Fridays ago and didn't really know how to answer, so he asked if I would ask. Well, at least ask.
All right. Presently, you have 3 members. Well, actually, presently we have 4 members until May 1st. We have Lee Ullman, Cliff Duple, Al Gorski, and I'm going to pronounce the last name wrong. Can you do it for me?
No, I'm going to let you go.
Come on, no. Hit me with it. Just whisper it to him so I got it. Come on.
Wow.
And I can't remember the last name, and neither can Manager Keener. And I'm sorry. So presently, we actually
No one can answer the question.
we actually have 4 members, but that'll be as of May 1st. Lee Ullman resigns, and then there is a discussion about a term expiring that the manager will be explaining and talking about as well later.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
No,
We're
sir.
going to be in a lot of trouble for forgetting his name.
I know.
That's your fault.
I know.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Thank you. I have a few things tonight. Vitas, our Director of Public Works, any new updates on the progress of the bridge? Are we still on target for, I thought you might have something. Are we still on target for a June 2012
Absolutely.
completion?
Ardmore Bridge, the sidewalk was poured last week. Reinforcing steel and framing is being completed for the parapet with the concrete scheduled for this Wednesday, and I have 2 photos that should be circulated around so you can see what a parapet is. South Villa, Stanley, Dunneman, and our staff will be walking the project on Tuesday to develop a final punch list.
Okay.
And of course, with the punch list, hopefully comes a schedule for completing the punch list. North Yale, regardless of what happens tonight, they will be out saw cutting pavement that needs to come out anyway. And where they go from there, of course, depends on the outcome of tonight as far as when they would resume the additional work.
Okay. And then in regards to Sonic and Haggerty, Sonic has broken ground, in case residents haven't noticed that already. They have broken ground, and they are estimated to complete that project by early 2012. Mamie is approaching the podium.
Yes, I'm Mamie.
It's exciting.
Sonic broke ground today. They have a couple of Bobcats, 2 small ones and 1 large one. They were doing some grading work. And so I talked to Sonic today. They are anticipating that their construction will be complete by the end of June, and then they would open early to mid-July. And then I also talked to Haggerty, and they started their construction a week or 2 ago, and so they will also be done probably in September, not sooner.
Okay, and that's what, about 24,000 square feet? How big is that?
That's 2,500 square
25,
feet expansion.
little off, but
they,
it's still
they have
big.
a 20-week construction schedule.
Excellent, okay.
Yeah, and then also, you didn't ask about it, but I'll update you as well. VP Materials will also look to close within the next week or 10 days on their property with Greg Cruzy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for those updates. Appreciate that. On Wednesday, May 2nd at 7 o'clock at Iowa Community Center, residents are invited to participate in a public forum to share their ideas and feedback in regards to a redevelopment of our transit-oriented development, or TOD area, or station area around the train station. The village was recently awarded 2 grants from the RTA, the Regional Transportation Authority, and that basically will provide the village with technical assistance from community planning experts. These experts will provide advice on how the village can streamline its planning and redevelopment process of the TOD, Transit-Oriented Development Area, and to assist with developing marketing strategies for the TOD's train station area. There's several of us that are serving on that planning, that subcommittee. Myself and Trustee Bolfus are serving and representing the board, as well as village staff and members of Planning and Zoning and our Economic Development Commission. So we're very excited about that, and just wanted to let everybody know, again, the residents, that public forum is on Wednesday, May 2nd at 7 o'clock at the Iowa Community Center. We also have the 2nd annual METRA Station cleanup. The Environmental Concerns Commission is doing that once again this year, and that will be on Saturday, May 5th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The key task will be weeding, throwing mulch, and also picking up litter, trash, and just pretty much on the north side of the train station area. And then the ECC will be donating flowers that will be put on the planters that are on the platform of the station. And Marlon Hummel from VP Parks and Rec will provide the tools and the bags and the things that people need in order to participate in the event. So if anyone is interested in participating, to please contact Bob Wagner, our chair of the Environmental Concerns Commission, at villagegreens1@aol.com. And finally, the IML Lobby Day that Trustee Taglia mentioned, yes, I'll be joining him on that trip. And another thing that we're going to be doing while we're there is trying to find a status report on the OSLAD grant. I know the staff's been working really hard trying to get that secured, so when we're down there, we're going to look for an update for you. So that's that. That's the conclusion of my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Davis.
Nothing tonight.
All right, I want to add this Saturday is Prairie Path, or not this Saturday? Yes, this Saturday is Prairie Path cleanup, as well as the Great Western Trails. Please come out. Come out and help. I know that every year it is extremely well attended. It starts at 8:30? 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Meet over at the Historical Preservation building right over on Villa Avenue. It is absolutely a great day. You'd be amazed at what you find. I think years before we found file cabinets, the hood of a car, tires, beds. But realistically, this is how a great opportunity to give back to the community. And the Prairie Path, our Prairie Path, personally, I think is the best upkept in all of DuPage County. I think we keep it up better than everybody else. We take care of it better than anyone else. The Great Western Trail is really where we need a lot of help because there's a lot more forestry for things to hide and things to get back in there. So please come on out on Saturday. We would love to have you join us. They'll have bags available for you. If you're coming out, even if it's a really warm day or whatever, wear long sleeves, wear jeans, wear work boots, and bring gloves. Because even though it's hot, you can get your hands involved in stuff and you don't want to get scraped or cut. And if you need to do a community service project for your Cub Scout troop, Boy Scout troop, Girl Scout troop, whoever you have out there, what a great way to do it than have those kids come out and clean for a few hours. Because they probably won't do it at your house, so you might as well send them out there. All right, and with that, we will go to public comments on non-agenda items. If there's anyone from the public who would like to speak on a non-agenda item.
I'd like to, Scott Shepard, 235 North Michigan. I'd like to see if there's any progress on the Michigan Avenue, North Michigan Avenue, restructure, repave, whatever is being considered.
Manager Keener.
Thank you, Alan. That's a great question. We have discussed that particular project. As I mentioned last time we met, the soil, the cores were taken and analyzed. The Public Works Department has taken a survey, a topo, basically, if you will, to see if stormwater would have the opportunity to drain towards St. Charles. We did find a little section of pipe that we believe might be able to accept some of the stormwater. And we believe at this point that we do have a rough estimate of the roadway of about $271,000. That does not include the manholes or any subsurface improvements. That's just the roadway on top. And we do believe we have a funding source. It's little preliminary to talk about it this evening, but we're working through it.
Okay. President Cullerton, how long have you been the president?
Just over 3 years.
3 years. And I think you were a year in the first time I was up here, so that's about 6 years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd just like to thank this board for actually staying on top of it, and this village manager. With the last village manager, we always got a song and dance. He actually told me at one point, we're going to start the engineering next year, which never happened. It's been 6 years since we've been complaining about the street. It's been 40 or 50 since they've done anything to it. Nobody knows how long it's been since something's done to it because there are no records to show. Vetus will probably confirm that. There's nobody in this town, that works here that even knows, going back that far when the last thing was done. So I'd just like to thank those that are staying on top of it that are, at least it's getting addressed. This year, I've noticed they did core samples, trying to find out what's being done about the street or what condition it's in, when for the previous 5 years, I've been being told it's a full reconstruction when actually nobody really knew and nobody bothered to find out. But I'd like to thank you for at least staying on top of it, and you can bet I'll be back here staying on top of it too. So, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Anybody else?
Katie Jenkins, 119 North Michigan Avenue. I just wanted to also say that I appreciate the conversation that has taken place regarding Michigan Avenue. Manager Keener, you said you believe you have a funding source. Can you give us any more definitive time frame when we'll have an answer? Or what else needs to take place before you can say yes or no?
I believe at this point, one of the things that we want to rule out or rule in is the stormwater. Now, that could be an additional piece that could escalate the cost, obviously. And I know that we're going to have to do some manhole work, so I think there's 2 manholes that have to be rebuilt, if you will, or replaced for sure. But once we have a firm determination about the stormwater, then we'll have a firmer cost, and then we'll have a good idea which way we're going to go. But I do have a preliminary cost. Yeah, sure. As long as it doesn't contradict what I just said.
The other factor with the stormwater is time. If we have to include a storm sewer in the design, then obviously it's going to take longer to complete plans and specifications. You know, the more underground you have, the longer it takes to design it versus just a straight road project. So once we have that information, then we'll have a better idea of what the schedule would be and when we can get something designed. Our plan is to get plans completed, have it shovel ready, and then it would be basically up to the financing to determine when the project moves forward.
Go ahead.
And I just wanted to make sure I understand, since the fiscal budget begins May 1st, do we have the leeway, if this does come up and you find the funding source, there's the leeway within the budget to proceed in 2012?
Yes. It's our intention to proceed in 2012. That's our full intention. Director of Public Works, Jaskelis, and myself discussed this morning the possibility of changing some work that's being done in the Public Works around a little bit to speed the process up a little bit. So we're willing to do that. It's just going to take some effort on his behalf and my behalf to see how we can move the projects around so that we can get some staff onto this project.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else on non-agenda items? All right. Item 19, consider executive session, RE5 ILCS C1, personnel matters and collective bargaining, 5 ILCS 120/2 C5, litigation, and 5 ILCS 120/2 C11, purchase or lease of real property for the public body. Can I have a motion to consider executive session?
Mr. President.
Trustee Davis?
Make a motion.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Taglia?
Second the motion.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello?
My understanding is there's nothing to go over in executive session possibly, other than some minor issues, and then we may be able to skip that for this evening. Is that, am I accurate with that understanding?
Manager Keener?
Your Honor, I have 3 items this evening to talk about in executive closed session, and quite frankly, they're collective bargaining, and we could certainly wait if you desire, or we could certainly go in tonight. It's up to this for the board.
Okay. So I asked to forego executive session this evening, and I'd like to move to that effect. I do so.
Do we need a motion, or can we just say, you can just vote no? We can just have everybody vote no if everybody doesn't want to go. All right, roll call then.
Trustee Taglia.
No.
Trustee Bullwinkle.
No.
Trustee Case.
No.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
No.
Trustee Bolthus.
Yes.
President Cullerton.
Abstain.
Four negatives anyways.
It was 4-2 anyway, right? We're good. All right, with that, we will move on to the committee of the whole. See the tension in the room when they were all waiting for me to vote?
You could cut it with a knife.
Yeah, nobody cared. It was already just one or two. Nobody cared about my vote anyway.
Sorry.
All right, item 1, consider change order number 1 from J. Congdon Sewer Service Incorporated of Carroll Stream, Illinois for the 2011 North Yale Water Main Improvement Project. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village's contract for a new water main on North Yale Avenue from Terrence Street to Plymouth Street provides for concrete patching of the trenches. After discussion at the April 16, 2012 Village Board Workshop, village staff was directed to submit a proposed change order for a replacement all concrete pavement Change order number 1 proposed an addition of $174,090 to the contract. Approximately $75,000 would be taken from the water supply fund and the remainder from the street improvement fund, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Any questions or comments from the board? Consensus to move this to the formal?
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle.
Yes.
President Colleton.
Yes. Item 2, consider intergovernmental agreement with York Township for resurfacing of Hill Street, Schiller Street, and Manor Lane. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The resurfacing of streets in the Hill Street area is included in the Ardmore Bridge project. A portion of Hill Street, Schiller Street, and Manor Lane is under the jurisdiction of the York Township Highway Department. A proposed intergovernmental will establish cost sharing for the resurfacing of the village and township portions of the pavement. The township's estimated share of the cost would be $85,907, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Manager Keener, could you explain that this? No, I could probably do it. These streets are actually included in the Ardmore Bridge project. So these are not coming out of village funds. These are coming out of the grant funds. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. And additionally, some of these funds are coming out of the North Avenue TIF fund, which the Hill Street is located within.
Right.
And it's a perfectly great example of use of the funds.
All right. And these we got actually added to the project, correct? Because these weren't on the original project schematics when we first started this 3 years ago, Vitas?
That is correct. While we were designing the Ardmore Bridge project, IDOT told us that we could add to the project, funded 80% federal, the detour route for the project. So we made Hill Street, which it was, the detour route, and so Hill Street itself was included for 80% funding under the bridge project.
And I know the businesses along Hill Street will be very appreciative. I know we've had Schaumburger Brothers over there says that people coming to their business, it looks like a war zone every so often. We've done some patching over there, but this will be a large improvement for them as well once the bridge is open. When will this project start up?
The contractor plans to move in May.
Okay.
So a few weeks.
So it'll, well then here's a question. Will that mean that we have no detour route? Because the bridge won't be completed and they'll be working on Hill Street, correct?
Well, they already did the patching while the bridge was out, and so they had temporary closures, so that's all they would need to do is temporary closures. I mean, this is probably, a several-day job, so that, during the time that they're paving, you might not be able to use the detour route for a few minutes, but there's alternates available, so they could always put up alternate detours during construction.
Alternate detours on detours?
I would think they'd be paving, I think I'd pave one side and come back and do that.
All right, thank you very much. Consensus to move this. Any other questions or comments from the board?
One question.
Yes.
For village attorney, I just want to make sure that we can use the TIF funds for street improvements.
Yes.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please. Or consensus to move this to the formal?
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Trustee Davis.
Yes.
President Colleton.
Yes. Item 3, consider grant agreement with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for the purchase of 2 flood-prone properties on South Monterey Avenue. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village will be receiving $645,820, which is 100% funding from the CDBG Ike program for the purchase and demolition of 2 existing structures in the 100-year floodplain of Salt Creek. The $645,820 grant is to cover the entire cost to acquire, demolish, and restore the properties as open space. The state of Illinois will issue a press release once the grant is formally approved. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Vitas, can I steal you up there? Can you let the public know where this is at and what properties these are? And I'm sure if anybody remembers our flooding of about 2 years ago, both of these properties were heavy underwater. And when was the Ike hurricane?
2008.
2008. So that tells you how long this took to get as well.
Yes. In deference to the state, I would like to not announce the location until they do.
Okay.
If that's okay. I can tell you it's in the floodplain of Salt Creek near Rotary Park. So that narrows it down quite a bit.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions or comments from the board? Consensus?
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
President Cullerton?
Yes. Item 4, consider local agency agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, for Phase 2 design engineering of the Ardmore Avenue streetscape project. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village will be receiving an Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, ITEP, grant that will provide 80% funding for streetscape improvement on North Ardmore Avenue. A proposed preliminary engineering services agreement with V3 Consultants establishes the scope of services for Phase 2 engineering at a cost of $91,359.59. Village share is $18,272. IDOT has completed its review of the engineering agreement and has given approval of its execution. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak? Anyone from the board?
One question, Your Honor.
Trustee Aiello?
The 80% funding, is it just for the engineering? 80% of the engineering, or is it 80% of the entire project?
80% of the entire project. It's 80% of the entire project.
Okay, thank you.
And Manager Keener, just to clarify, this project starts at North Avenue and goes all the way to the tracks. Is that correct? To show the scope of the project.
Yes.
So, okay. That's it.
All right. Consensus?
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
President Cullerton?
Yes. Consider bid proposals for replacement of the wastewater division closed circuit sewer camera system. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Public Works Wastewater Division owns a 1995 sewer televising system that is scheduled for replacement due to its age and obsolete technology. This unit is used for televising and VHS recording of the village's sewer collection system, storm, sanitary, and combined. Replacement parts are difficult to obtain. The unit recommended for purchase is a Q's OZ111 in the amount of $69,000. This unit would include a self-propelled camera, recording equipment, and software. It would provide better quality images, greatly reduce downtime, and increase the speed of video review. Funds for this purchase would be taken from the wastewater fund. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak? Anyone from the board?
Mr. President,
Trustee Davis?
we shot this down a year or two ago.
Last year.
Yeah, okay. It's gotten a lot worse. The equipment's breaking down constantly. And this time I think we should actually go forward with it.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, when we use the camera equipment now, we put it in, it breaks down, and then while it's broken down, we have to pull it back out, and it has causes a couple of individuals to lose productivity. In fact, we used it just recently over at Jackson to locate a possible issue, and we put it in. It went probably 50 yards, and then it was defective at that point. We had to pull it back out, but we did find a log in there. It was very useful, and I think we should probably retire this 1995 piece of equipment and replace it. I have contacted and reached out to one adjacent community to see if they needed to use this piece of equipment, if we could help them, if we had a new piece, and they said that would be very helpful also. So that might be something that we could pursue as an IGA with the local community. maybe in a T&M basis that would help them resolve their issues as well, Your Honor. Thank you.
Does that mean they'd be willing to help us pay?
Through a T&M, sure.
What would that be?
Time and material basis.
No, I mean, but do we have any type of what we could charge?
$178 per hour.
That's what I was looking for right there. That's exactly what I was looking for right there, 178 per hour. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
One comment. Can we make sure that the unit ties into the technology somehow that we've, if it can, that we've just bought all that recent technology on that updates on all the systems here? Can we make sure that whatever we do buy, whether it's this unit or another unit, that to the extent it needs to be, what do you call it?
Integrated.
This unit integrates with our existing new
software.
I gotta look at the specs, but I know it's VHS.
Well, the basic difference is the old equipment writes to VHS, this one will write to DVDs, and DVDs are virtually playable on any computer anywhere, so it should be compatible.
I was kind of assuming, I just didn't want to make the assumption to find out I was wrong.
Vita, stay up there. As Director of Public Works and our Treasurer, do we have the money to do this?
Well, the funds are budgeted in the wastewater fund. The wastewater fund currently has a fund balance, I believe, of about $900,000 plus. And so the additional $4,000 we need, we will have savings in other projects. The VFD projects, I believe, are going to come in about $30,000 under budget in the same account. So yes, we do have the funds.
And I'm just going to ask some basic information. How many times a year are we using this?
Well, we have scheduled projects, so whatever projects we're doing next year, prime example, Michigan, that's the last time it broke down, actually, was when it was... No, when it was... a few weeks ago. So every resurfacing project, every capital improvement project, we like to TV it so that we can identify sewer point repairs and take care of them before the resurfacing rather than after the resurfacing. Every time we get a sewer backup, the EPA wants us to investigate it right away. So we have to go out, and the best way to televise something is to investigate something is to televise the sewer and see what's down there. After storm events, I mean, we always get reports, well, was the storm sewer clogged? Is everything working okay? So now we can run out and take a look at the storm sewer, run the TV camera through there. I mean, we're pretty sure it's clear, but this way you can verify that it is clear. So it's going to see a lot of use.
Okay. And then are we utilizing it on private properties at all?
No, it does not televise services, main lines only.
Okay. Trustee Davis?
How much have you outsourced? Because this is broken or not working. How much have you outsourced?
It works for when it's needed. Then it goes down, we fix it. Actually, the last 3 years, because we had the ERA projects going, the 20 miles of relining, those lines had to be televised anyway after the relining as part of the project. So we didn't have to do any large-scale televising because we had that relining project. Now that it's finished and we need to start thinking about the future projects, we'll need to do televising again. Prior to the relining project, I believe in my memo it said we televised about 27,000 feet of sewer in preparation for that project. So whatever future sewer rehab we have to do, whether we do it or whether we contract it out, somebody's going to need to televise those lines, and somebody's going to need to review the tapes.
And what's our time frame as far as life on this camera?
20 years, I would think, easily.
There are DVDs on that tapes, right?
DVDs, right. No, VHS tapes are getting hard to find.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Consensus?
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Cullerton?
Yes. Item 6, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, providing that ordinance enforcement shall be by administrative adjudication without prepayment settlement except for parking and equipment violations. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village desires to provide for enforcement of ordinance violations except those parking and equipment violations for which prepayment penalties are provided for in Section 14-220 of the Municipal Code by the Administrative Adjudication System. As a result, the hearing officer will make a determination on the basis of evidence at the hearing on whether or not an ordinance violation exists. A copy of the findings, decisions, and order of the hearing officer shall be served to the party within 5 days after they are issued. It is recommended that the village adopt and pass this ordinance to change the village code. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public? Questions or comments from the board?
Mr. President.
Trustee Taglia.
The effect of the adjudication, will that have a positive effect of cash flow for the village? Will it put money in the village general fund?
Yes.
Great. That's all.
Any other questions or comments? Consensus?
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. 7, consider an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Illinois Office of the Comptroller and the Village of Villa Park regarding access to the Comptroller's local debt recovery program. Can I have our
No, that's all right.
Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The local debt recovery program requires that an intergovernmental agreement be executed between the Village of Villa Park and the Illinois Comptroller's Office for the purposes of collecting both tax and non-tax debt owed to the village. The purpose of the agreement is to establish the terms and conditions for the offset of the state's tax and non-tax payments in order to collect tax and non-tax debts owed to the local unit. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the public? Questions or comments from the board? Consensus?
Mr. President.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Manager Keener, or maybe Vitas or Shannon, do you know how much the state currently owes us? I know I talked about this before, asked this before.
This
but-
isn't the state owing
No,
us.
it's not?
No,
Okay.
this is us recovering if people have, I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
that's correct.
Okay.
It's debts that we are owed, like liens on properties and that.
Okay.
That we're not getting it. We can go and ask the state if they have income tax refunds that they have not
Gotcha.
sent
Okay.
out. We can then get that.
Okay. I know the state owes us money, but that's a totally separate issue. Okay.
Mr. President.
All right. Thank you.
Trustee Taggart.
Again, this will help the village collect money that is owed to the village. And again, we'll put money in the village's general fund, which translates into fixing streets, etc. So thank you, Manager Keenan. That's all.
Consensus?
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. 8, consider an agreement for METRA Coffee Shop. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Board of Trustees is asked to consider a lease agreement for the Villa Park METRA Station premises by and between the village and Two Services Ltd. The lease shall be for 5 years with the rent set at $275 per month for years 1 through 3. The rent shall then be set at $300 per month for years 4 and 5. The village board is advised by staff to accept the terms of the lease provided that all conditions are met by Two Services Ltd. And Your Honor, I believe we do have guests
Yes.
with us this evening.
First, any questions or comments from the public? Maybe do you want to introduce our new owners?
Two Services Limited operates currently 2 coffee shops, one in Highland Park and another one in Northbrook, and they are represented today by Tula Retzos and her daughter Selena Retzos, who came here today. And I checked their references, and they had nothing but both Northbrook and Highland Park spoke very highly and said that they were great companies, not good companies, but great companies that went above and beyond and took great pride in the operations that they run. So let me let Tula speak a little bit about her operation. This is what they do is they have a number of partners, but they operate METRA train station shops.
Thank you. My name is Chula Rutzos. This is my daughter, Selena Rutzos. We have, like Mimi said, we have two other stations. We were affiliated with Deerfield also, and we're trying to expand. So what we'll be doing to the one in Villa Park is going to be revamping the whole area, and my daughter does the designing, and she'll be running, and so will I run the store. And we have two other partners, Charlie Bliss, who wasn't able to come because he's a Chicago fireman also, and another partner, Ken Hoffman, he usually does our finances. So we're all incorporated together, and we're here to accommodate the commuters and the citizens of Villa Park. And you won't be disappointed because we are successful in what we do, and our family has restaurant business. Obviously, we're Greek, so we have restaurant background. So, and very personable with people in the community. So we'll be able to generate more business and accommodate everybody. Selena, go ahead.
I would first like to thank all the committee for allowing us to speak today. I'm glad and happy to introduce our business into Villa Park because I'm very excited about the changes that we're going to make and the prospect of growing the business within Villa Park, because I've visited the METRA Station and realized how busy it is. And indeed, I believe I will be able to grow the business and accommodate more commuters as we did in Highland Park.
And we have really good vendors, and our product is really exceptional. So, and we'll bring it to the board so you guys can, and we'll invite you to our opening.
When do you anticipate opening?
Well, we were saying, go ahead.
Well, the existing operator indicated that she would stop operating on May 18th.
Okay.
And so they need anywhere from 7 to 14 days to turn over, replace the equipment, and put in their own equipment, and do some decorating and paint and that sort of thing. And they just recently had a conversation with the existing operator who said she may not be out until the end of May. They had hoped to open before June, but so whenever she closes, they need 7 to 10 days. So in the contract, we have the earlier of when they open, or June 1, so it could possibly be the second week in June. We're going to talk to the current operator and see if we can encourage her to vacate it a little earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic. And the METRA, I mean, I have to agree, the METRA Station is packed, and the more, as soon as that bridge opens up, you're going to see more commuters from the north side, the Addison area that uses our train tracks as well. So you'll get more people coming over there as well.
And as part of their opening or soft opening, they'll also offer free coffee samples during the first few days when they open.
Yeah, we have a plan.
Very good. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Trustee Ayala?
I just want to make sure that the prior lease maybe terminates before we're stuck in a new lease.
Yes, the current lease expires the end of May.
Mr. President?
Trustee Boltis?
I want to thank you for coming to Villa Park. I've had a number of commuters concerned that the other coffee shop is closing, and they'll appreciate to hear that you'll be coming in there. I just have one question. Which one of you just gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go make the coffee?
It's actually 3:15. Yeah.
Past your bedtime.
Well, we have to pick up fresh product in the morning as well to make sure that all of our product is fresh. So in order to do that, we have to get up a little earlier.
They also grind their own coffee.
Yes.
So.
And it's a free trade coffee. So it is excellent for the community as well as bringing in new. I'm just going to stop.
Thank you
No,
very
we
much.
do
Great
have a
job.
good vendor.
Yeah.
He's out of Michigan, and we grind our own coffee. It comes in fresh, and there's different flavors. So it's going to be changed, so commuters are going to have to adjust, but I think they'll be pleased with our changes.
Great.
Customer service based,
Perfect.
self-service based.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you. For
Anyone
the
else?
opportunity. The timing's great.
Good luck.
Perfect. Thank
Yes,
you.
good luck.
Thank you.
All right, consensus then to move this to the formal?
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. Item 9, advance to bill listing A through J. Can I have a consensus?
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Abstain with a conflict.
President Colleton?
Yes. All right, we will now go back to the formal 10, resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the contract between the Village of Villa Park, Illinois, and J. Congdon Sewer Service Incorporated for the 2011 North Yale Water Main Project. Can I have a motion for the resolution?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bullwinkle.
I'd like to make a motion for the resolution.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Davis.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. Item 11, resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Villa Park and York Township Road Districts for the resurfacing of Hill Street, Schiller Street, and Manor Lane. Can I have a motion for the resolution?
Mr. President,
Trustee
I'll
Taglia.
move for the resolution.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case? Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. Item 12, resolution approving a METRA coffee shop lease. Can I have a motion on the resolution?
Mr. President,
Trustee Bullwinkle.
make a motion for the resolution.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Bolfus.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Bullwinkle?
Yes.
Trustee Davis?
Yes.
President Colleton?
Yes. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President,
Trustee Taglia.
move to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Mr. President.
Trustee Aiello.
Second.
Questions or comments? Can I have the ayes?
Ayes.
No nays? Meeting adjourned.